Okay, we are,
Hi.
yes. It's that time of the day, girl. That time. Uh, I am about to do something and hope to God it works because I moved away from my computer a little bit. So forgive me if I press the wrong button. Hopefully, I pressed the right one right now. Yes, I did. Woohoo! All right.
Woo.
I'm
Okay.
getting good at this. No, I'm not. Welcome to another episode of Embrace Your Edges. I am Hillary in Ontario, Canada.
I'm Colette with Love, also aka Nicole in Canada.
Yes. Okay. So tonight, intimacy versus emotional compatibility. Uh, you know, that is something. Oh, you know what? Before I go any further, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Um, you know, keep
Alright.
me going. Trying to get myself a little bit out there. So, check me out on YouTube as well as Spotify. You can see us uh, on Instagram, and our handler is embrace underscore your underscore edges. If you are joining us live tonight in the chat, thank you and welcome to those who can make it out, and for those who are going to watch the recording later, thank you for supporting us. So we are live. Let's get started. So there's always that battle between intimacy versus emotional compatibility, and what is most important. And I believe in love languages. Okay, I believe that you have to know what your partner or your significant other or yourself, what's important to yourself. So let's go through it. What's more important, intimacy or physical intimacy or emotional intimacy? Take it away.
All right. So we're actually gonna get started here. So why emotional intimacy is the glue in a relationship? So I'm going to talk about the emotional intimacy, intimacy and more about that. So, feeling seen, heard, and understood is a universal desire of all people. There is no other feeling like it in the world. And you want to know, and are you curious of how it's achieved? Well, it's through emotional connection and intimacy. So, emotional connection can't be bought or faked. It's
Mm.
developed, cultivated, and earned. We can't say the same for sex now, can we? Because sex is a whole different
Level,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to go into the 5 reasons of why emotional intimacy matters. Okay.
Okay.
So first of all, it it comes down to psychology.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So in every intro to
Mm-hmm.
psychology class, you learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mm-hmm.
This body of work goes back decades and is widely accepted as truth. Maslow states that after the basic human needs of air, food, water, shelter, safety, etc., are met, that, that following those, the number one human need is love and belonging. In other words, it's a basic human need to feel seen, heard, and understood, aka emotional connection. So, how's that for a textbook to back this
Mm-hmm.
information up, huh?
Yeah, and that's true. And this is the part where you want some person that gets you right. People say, "I want
Mm,
my ride or die." You want a person that understands that maybe your idea of connecting is sitting down and having a conversation, or it is rubbing feet, or it could be just a nice stroll with a conversation. It could
yeah.
be that phone call in the middle of the day to say, how you're feeling, or it could be more of a check into my emotions.
Mm. Exactly. That goes on to actually number two,
Sorry,
which is
I'm getting texts from Rudy telling me where he is in bed. Rudy,
Yeah.
we got it. You're not here tonight. You are having a good time down on one of the streets. I'm not even going to say where you are. But okay, thank you, Rudy. Yeah, go on.
So it goes on to number two.
Yeah.
Emotional intimacy creates a deep sense of security
Hmm.
within your relationship and ability to be wholly yourself, without feeling as if you risk the relationship of itself. So physical intimacy and having sex just doesn't
Hmm.
doesn't give you, sorry, the same sense of security and ability to be yourself in every way.
Hmm.
Okay. There's nothing sexier than revealing your deepest, darkest, most vulnerable secrets to someone and having that person love you for who you are, even
Mm.
after they've heard and seen you at your most vulnerable. Emotional intimacy is what gets you through the tough times in life. As you get older and your body deteriorates, your ability to give great sex might too. But emotional
Wait, hold
intimacy
on.
will stand the test of time.
Wait, hold on. That part. You
Yeah.
know, I hear, I'm always, I have this little battle that sometimes I have with people with conversations when it comes to some people believing that if their body parts, the sexual organs, don't work, that the partner will, leave them. Um,
Hmm.
and I can understand um, other things being the issue, some kind of um, relationship issue. But when it comes to the actual physicality and you being ill, for example, and your partner is going to walk away from you because you cannot sexually perform because you're either ill or, we do have situations as you get older, your some parts don't work as often or as they used to when you were younger. So for a
Hmm.
partner to now walk away from you because that is no longer working, you have to have some conversations around that. For me, I think I would be very alarmed and question as to where um, your commitment lies.
Right.
Is it between my thighs or is it in your heart?
Mm.
You got to be careful with that, and that's why it's really important to have that conversation about what is important to you in a relationship. And again, I'll go back to that the five love languages, because to some people, the amount of the ability to have sex is extremely important, and for some, it's not as important. But I like what it says there, um, when you said that emotional intimacy is what you gets you through tough times in life. That is so true. So,
Yeah.
body parts not working. Are you going to walk away from that relationship? How important is it to you? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. And so but emotional intimacy will stand the test of time, and your emotional bond will be the glue to keep you connected
Mm-hmm.
in the long term. Like how you were saying, like, I feel like it is important to have that connection because you're not always going to be young all the time,
Yeah, yeah,
and
that part.
it's more relationship is more than just sex. It's more that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So number three, emotional intimacy is the prerequisite to great sex.
Hmm.
So yes,
Let's dilate
emo-
that.
yeah,
Emotional intimacy is a prerequisite to great sex. Do we believe
yeah.
that? People in the chat, do you believe that emotional intimacy is a prerequisite to great sex?
Let me check this out.
I think it's there. I
Yeah.
agree. I think that AKA chemistry, right? You ever heard a
Mm-hmm.
person say, "Oh my God, I had the greatest sex of my life," and it's because the person was able to connect to them on a different level,
Right.
on an intimate level, and they are now not only getting satisfaction physically, but more emotionally, mentally, and uh, there are other parts that are now working all together in a twine. So, so, AKA again chemistry. Go on.
Yes. Emotional intimacy comes first. You
Yep.
can't have a great sex life without emotional intimacy. A strong emotional connection can support a healthy sex life. But
Yeah.
let's be clear, it is the foundation from
It is
which you
very much the
build
foundation.
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I don't know about you, but I don't feel like or what was this?
Mm-hmm.
If your partner doesn't know what's going on in your inner world,
Yeah.
um, is it hard for you? Is it hard
Yeah.
for you to get it on?
Yes. Just think about it. Just think about
Yeah.
you had a really bad day at work today, and you know your partner comes and they're like, "Ooh, I want to," they want that emotion from you. They really want to, as I say, get it on. They want to have sex,
Yeah.
and they're not checking in to see why you're pulling away or your body language. You start to like, wow, do they even get me? Do they understand? Do they know me? They realize that when I am having a bad day, I get silent. Why, and why they're not asking that question of why I'm silent? Because there's so many things you can do on the intimate, on the emotional side when the person is going through a hard time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that if they know you, they get to really know you, know what's important to you. It makes things a little bit more, ready.
Do you think it's different for women and men? Like, do you feel like for like do you feel like men for men it's like it doesn't even matter. Like if they're horny kind of thing. Or like with women it's more like we we
I
need that
think we give
conversation.
men a bad rap. I want to save the men right now. Save- I want to save men. Let me just save them. Hold on. I think everyone has. Some, oh, listen, we're all individuals, and I think that,
Mm-hmm.
for some people, they need that emotional connection to perform,
Right.
and some don't. You know, um,
Yeah.
people would say more men than women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but what I can say is everyone is different, and what is important to one person might not be important to the other, and that's why it's very important that you have that conversation with your mate as to how much sex they would want in a relationship, and what type of sex they would want in a relationship, and how intimate they what does intimacy look like to them, because
Right.
intimacy could be basically walking by your mate and touching their tush, their bum,
Yeah.
every so lightly. That could be extremely intimate to one person, annoying to
Mm-hmm.
another. you know, intimacy can be actual intercourse, and for another it could be oral, or for another
Mm-hmm.
it could be a simple kiss on the cheek. So you have to know uh, what um, what type of intimacy is important, and again, if they require that to perform,
Mm-hmm.
do they need that emotional connection to perform? And Nicolette's Nicole is like, no, men are. But we do think that men can just perform on the dime, and that's not necessarily so. I don't believe that. But men, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to save y'all. Yeah, go ahead.
So the equation is simple. Emotional connection first,
Yeah.
then amazing and deeply connected. Sex naturally flows. Emotional connection is the fuel for the sexual fire and flames. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel, yeah. I feel like sex is definitely different when you have
Yeah.
that connection. I
Yeah.
think that's where when it's more,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I require chemistry. Okay.
yeah.
If chemistry is not in a relationship with me, I just have zero interest. Like, nah. It's a no for me. And that's what I look for in a mate. And I'm happy that I do have that. And that you want some person that not only gets you, but gets you not only emotionally, but also sexually as well. But they know what turns you on. They know how, what's important to you. They know when to check in. They know when to check out. They know when to be quiet. All of that uh, comes up into emotional intimacy, as well as having your back. You know what I don't like? I don't like when you're in a relationship with some person and you have an argument or a disagreement, or you don't agree with the person and you check them in front of a crowd. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's not
Don't do
like
that.
everything should be private.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't agree just because you want to have their back, and then when you get behind, check them. You
Yes,
know,
that's the
go
correct
behind,
thing to
yeah,
do
go
for
behind
sure.
closed doors and have a conversation. Be like, listen,
Hmm.
I don't agree with what you said. I was only trying to have your back so you have a support system or whatever. But let me explain to you what I do believe, and and then have a proper conversation. Don't be like, don't take it personal either. Like, have a proper conversation, but you know, a person wants to know that they are supported. They want to know that you get them. They want to know that you're believing their dreams. They
Hmm.
want to know that you're going to be there no matter when things get tough, and you're not going to drop and run. That's what
Right.
they're looking for. So yeah, and all of that. I mean, I don't know about you, but yeah, it makes you open to a lot of things, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So number four,
Mhm.
um, according to a Harvard
Mhm.
study,
Mhm.
the biggest predator of your happiness and fulfillment overall in life is love and the equality of your relationships.
Hmm.
Sorry, your quality of relationships. Oh my gosh, what was that? So yes, quality of relationships. This study,
You're
I
hilarious.
swear it's not an episode until like Nicolette does something. Oh, sorry, Colette does something.
The last you were talking about the
I
last
always
episode.
have like a moment on here. I always have a moment.
Yeah,
And it's like,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. You were talking about the last episode earlier. You were like, did you watch it over or something?
Some of it, yeah. Some of it I did.
Yeah.
But like it just like that the memory of that episode just like it was hilarious. Just my face expressions and like even the past episodes. There was a moment where I'm just
Yeah, but you know what it is sometimes like we all have facial expressions, and some people carry their emotions on their face. And so if you're thinking about something or something is funny, it happens. Like you can probably tell when Rudy or Victor or someone messages me with some kind of crazy comment because I just start going and I start laughing for no
right,
reason,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And that's why, because I'm
Yeah.
like, what do I do? I am not saying that, like that one time when we had a guest, and a person sent it to me to hit on her and wanted me to say certain things, and I couldn't say what he was saying. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna say that. But it was cute. It was cute and funny. But anyways. So, anyways, let's
Yes.
go on. So, what did Harvard study say? What did they say?
Well, this study actually specifically demonstrates that um, having someone to rely on,
Yeah.
helps your nervous system
Amen.
relax. So it helps your brain stay healthier for longer and
Mm-hmm.
reduces both emotional and physical pain.
Yeah.
So the data also very clear that those who feel lonely are more likely to see the physical health decline earlier
Yeah.
and die younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Put simply, emotional connection is actually key in living. So basically, yeah. So that's pretty much what it's saying is that emotional connection is actually the key
Yeah.
to have a healthier, longer life.
That's not only in intimate relationships. That's also in any kind of relationship where
Yeah, in life of itself.
in life in itself. Yeah, you want to know
Yeah.
you have a support system. I mean, we all see it in society when a person doesn't have a support system, how hard it is for them.
Right.
Anxiety happens, depression happens, other disabilities that might be triggered by it also heightens. And depression is something that eats away not only on your emotional self but also on your being and your health, your actual physical health, your actual um, even hygiene is gets in there. There's so many
Hmm.
things that happen when you don't feel like you have anyone to depend on. And the
Yeah.
worst thing that you can feel is that lonely feeling. Loneliness can bring up so many different things. And so to have some person that you connect to, that gets you, that understands, even if you're dealing with depression or anxiety, to have that person that can connect with you and understand that when this happens, and maybe I need a timeout away from him, her, or they, or them, because they cannot manifest a conversation right now. That is a lot of support. Sometimes silence is a huge amount of support. Okay,
Right.
because you don't always have to have an answer for your partner, especially if you don't have an answer for your partner. You
Yeah.
know, don't be giving people false hope. uh, it's true. You know, sometimes just be like, I don't have anything to offer you but being here.
Yeah.
And I'm here and I'm going to sit here with you as you go through your emotions. And I just want to make sure that you're okay. That sometimes is so much and more paramount than you trying to tell them it's okay, everything's going to be great. You do not know. Sometimes people everything's going to be great. You don't know. So yeah, I agree. I agree that you know, it does affect the health, your health, and can possibly allow you to live a little bit longer because when
Mhm.
you know when you have that support system, it a lot of things are lessened. And so yeah, I love that statement. I love that Harvard study. I'm gonna look at it a little bit deeper. Maybe I can use it on paper. All right, let's do number 5.
Number 5. Um, so when you do a quick Google search
Mm-hmm.
and you type in what's most important in a relationship,
Yeah.
the results were open communication,
Uh-huh.
loyalty,
Mm.
kindness, compassion, trust, emotional vulnerability, and willingness to forgive.
I love that.
So, yeah, right?
I love that. I agree with all of those. That's what I.
Yeah,
That basically is what I love in a relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that last part, willingness
Mm-hmm.
to forgive. That's a strong one,
Forgive.
I feel.
That is so strong because people don't know how to forgive.
Yeah.
And forgiving doesn't mean that you have to like throw it, never remember it. It's basically accepting that this has happened between us and we've worked through it. And I've said, I don't appreciate how you treated me or what happened here, but don't do it again, kind of thing. Having that conversation
Hmm.
around that, but we're gonna move on. But you don't get to bring it up every time there's an argument.
Right.
You don't
Yes.
get to bring
Once
it
it's
up.
talked about, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once you talk about it, that's it. You move on. And again, forgiveness don't mean forgetting. It just means, you know, you've talked about it, you've rationed it out, you have acceptance around it, you've determined a solution around it, and you're going to work and build and continue the relationship. But again, you don't get to bring that up every time you have an argument because then you didn't
Right.
forgive them. So that's a really
Exactly.
huge one. Is that
Yeah.
willingness to really forgive? Because and if you do, you know what forgiveness look like and what does that mean to you, and you might want to have a conversation with the same person and say, "Well, this is what forgiveness means to me. So if I bring it up, this
Mm.
is why." Um, yeah, and emotional vulnerability. I love that. I think the most sexiest thing is a person that can be vulnerable. That means
Right.
you trust
Yeah.
me, right? That's
Yeah.
trust, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then
Letting
compassion.
your armor down.
Yeah, compassion, empathy, putting yourself in another person's shoe and not making an assumption. You know what I don't like? I don't like where you are in a relationship and a person has an idea as to what will make you better and try to fix
You
you.
mean?
You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah. I know
Yeah.
what you mean. Like trying to
You
fix the
found me
fixer.
how you found me.
Yeah.
Can't fix me. I mean, if you want to support me on my change and I tell you, this is what I don't like about myself and I want to improve upon myself, if you want to support me, sure, but you can't be like, I don't like the way you wear your hair. I don't like it. Change it. Do something different. In fact, you know what? Tell you what. This is a photo I think you should look will make you look better. And then be all offended when they don't do it. You know?
Yeah.
So that empathy. Let's practice that in our relationships and kindness. What kindness really looks like. Kindness is not me. Sympathy. Because people get that mixed up a lot. Kindness and sympathy. They're two different
Yeah.
things. You just gotta be. You can be sympathetic, but make sure if you're kind, you're not expecting anything in return.
Right.
Because people go, well, I was there for you. Well, thanks. I didn't ask you to be. And they get all offended. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always there for you. I'm always, helping you out. Or I'm always, you call, I answer the phone. But maybe that's your way of love languaging. And that's not
Yeah.
her, him, they, them, him, his way of communicating or practicing kindness. So you gotta again check in and see what kindness looks like to that person and what communication looks like. So
Yeah.
I love that one. But what else do they say?
They said that all signs that point right to emotional. So basically, what they're saying is all that it points to emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
Um, but funny enough, there's no
Mm.
mention of sex.
Yeah.
Emotional connection is unique to your partner. So
Mm-hmm.
you never find the same emotional connection with someone else. So
Yeah.
everyone, no matter how, so
Yes.
each partner
That's
that
true.
you do have is a different
Yes.
emotional connection.
Yeah.
So, but in contrast, you can have good sex and feel physically connected with someone else
Mm-hmm.
that you feel physically attracted to.
Yeah. And and I think the part where they no mention about sex goes back to number one, where it can be bought
Yeah,
or it can be bought. Sex can be bought. Let's be real.
yeah,
It can be. Sex can be bought, and people can fake it, right? But you
yeah,
cannot fake emotional connection. It's either there or it's not, right? There's
right.
either chemistry or there's no chemistry. Now,
Mm-hmm.
let me play devil's advocate, okay? So, why physical intimacy is the key to your relationship, okay? Bear with me. Now, you know, listen, let's start with 5 reasons why the sex, connecting on a physical level is the key to a thriving relationship. Number one, connection is number one reason why people want to uh, or like sex, right? Physical connection means being vulnerable. Again, when you're sharing your
Mm-hmm.
body with a person, that is vulnerability that's present, and is completely in tune with one another when there's chemistry involved. But again, that still pulls in that part about emotional intimacy. So when you're
Mm-hmm.
connected to a physical level, you feel closer, which you can't always say for a deep discussion. That's true. That sounds like a guy would say something like that, but whatever. uh, I just did that. I did that. Whatever. And so if you're going to have those hard conversations about children or about in-laws or work or money or whatever, you find that maybe that can be disheartening to a physical touch. Some people rather have sex than argue, right? Or they rather have sex than talk about the finances. This this often does happen. So having great sex, connecting on a physical level, actually makes you want to open up sometimes emotionally. Plus, sex and physical touch is the thing that makes a relationship different from a friendship or any other kind of relationship. So, partnership without sex can lead to loneliness. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but again, it depends on the partner, because to some partners, sex is not important, and you have to know what kind of intimacy is important to your partner. So if it is important to your partner, that can turn into frustration, it can turn into resentment, it can turn into them feeling guilty or even inadequate, like, man, he's not or she's not or they're not really into me. You ever heard that one? They're not really into me. And Steve Harder wrote that book, and every woman's like, when you say that, I know what they means. Number two, pleasure. Pleasure touching feels good and makes you feel like one with your partner. It's better to have that long squeeze or have him or have. I'm gonna say him because I'm cis, so I'm gonna say him. So have him squeeze your your butt, or give us a long hug, or even a passionate kiss, or even a sexy massage, or even crawl into bed next to you, do that cuddling thing, or even wake up to him kissing you on your forehead. That makes you feel like there's that great connection, okay? And it heightens the pleasure. Now, there's a fact, and here's the fun fact. Ready, everyone listening? So the head of the penis has 4,000 nerve endings, and the head of the clitoris has 10,000 nerve endings. Okay,
All right.
so and it's all there for pleasure. It's literally there for complete. The sole purpose is pleasure. There's no other reason that those nerve endings are there. So sometimes you might crave sex, and your partner, doesn't want to be into that. So try to find some fun, pleasurable things to get that heighten going. And that may be the difference between male and female, in that you have 10 grand versus 4 grand. 10 grand needs a little bit more, spending, and 4 grand, not so much. That's how I'm going to put it. Number 3, sex is good for your health. And we said that too about the emotional piece and how, they might coordinate with each other. It's a form of physical exercise. I have that book I shared in my other podcast that we had before, remember, about losing weight through sex. And there were different positions that burn a certain amount of calories.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe pick up that book. I don't have it close by, but I can always put in the description. And maybe it's a little fun thing to do because you want to keep your relationship, fun, and especially if touch is very important to your mate or physical intimacy is very important to your mate. Again, it's a good form of exercise. It's fun and enjoyable way. Instead of hitting the gym, their partner be your gym mate in your bed. It improves sleep. We know that for sure, especially for men. For some reason, a lot of men, well, not for some reason, men do burn a lot of energy during sex in comparison to females. For some reason, a lot of females tend to get more energy after sex, and men lose energy after sex. I'm not going to study that one. So it also boosts your immune system. That's been proven, and increase your life expectancy, and that's been proven. But again, both do, whether it be physical or emotional, that life expectancy does increase. And someone said, see, this is why I don't look at the WhatsApp too much. Someone said, "None of she's an egg." That might decrease your life expectancy. I'm not gonna go there. Anyways, not to mention it's amazing for your flexibility to, trying to get into those new positions. It's also a great way of emotional health. Having fun with that. Lower your stress, anxiety level, except if it's the first time you're having intimate relationship with that new person. Because we always go through that new thing where, oh my God, are they going to love my body without these clothes on? There's some anxiety behind that. And it takes your mind off of the tough things that are happening, especially finances in your life. And I think during the pandemic, we saw how much physical intimacy can really be the answer,
Yeah.
But then again, that also, when it comes to the emotional piece, we found out during the pandemic, a lot of people realized that they were not compatible, because they were
Right.
spending more time together. Number 4, this one I like because it's physical intimacy is the super glue. It fixes things. It's true. For some people it does. For others, not so much.
That's true. That's
Yeah. So let's say, you're having a hard day and, your partner walks by and just gives you a kiss or a hug. It just makes you feel like, wow, they get me. A makeout session that's not regular part of your day. It might repair that disagreement faster. They have some people that actually pick fights to have sex.
true. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That toxic couple. Everyone I'm sure they know a toxic couple.
But not only the toxic ones now. They have people like, listen, if you having a great day and your partner having a great day, even if they just left the room and came back and now all of a sudden they're picking an argument that makes no sense to you, but they're touching you while they're making the argument, They're trying to do. They're saying, "Wow, this." They want a certain type of sex from you in that moment. So some people do it. They create arguments where there's none, just to have intimate sex. Um, you're also, forgiving your partner, knowing habits sometimes when you want to focus on the habits and you don't want to focus on all that stuff that makes up a beautiful relationship. Have some sex. People believe it. It'll fix it. I don't believe that, but some people do believe that. And then number 5. I like number 5 because you can do so much with it, and you can also pull in the emotional connection to it. Sex is like a vacation, it's but better, right? People go away for the weekend, to escape the buzzing of all the different things that happen in life, in your head, or the noise around you, or everyday life, right? So imagine you can escape to an Airbnb, or even, the cute thing I like is when you play with your mate. One of the examples I give, a collect with love, was like knocking on go to the driveway, go outside, go to the driveway, come back, knock on the door, have them answer the door, like, hey, your husband home? And just grab them and, get it on. It's a way of creating that, keeping it fresh and exciting. Get Netflix and chill. That brings out a lot of things, okay? Some people like watching a porn movie with your mate, and maybe trying some of the stuff that's in there. Each to their own. Or even just escaping for the day, going for a long drive, and, making out in the car or whatever. Something that you're not anticipating, something that's, just out of the blue, getting all steamy. So maybe not. I don't know. So what's more important, physical intimacy or emotional intimacy? What do you think?
Well, physical intimacy and emotional intimacy are not mutually exclusive.
That's true. That's very true. Because they
Yeah.
both tend to, like, you know, go hand in hand a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they pretty much, that's the thing, they work together. I feel like it's a good balance. It's
Yeah.
a
And that,
you
yeah. And I encourage everyone to take the love languages quiz. Because
Yes.
it really does. It will help with a lot of arguments. Actually, there's two tests that you can take that will, and this is my little secret. There are two tests that you can take that can really help your relationship. And if your mate's not into the whole quiz thing, they might be like pushing back. I don't want to take this. Just please, for me, just less arguments here, okay? So you can take the True Colors test,
True
okay?
colors
That
test.
gives you your personality, and then you can take the five love language test quiz, and that will give you what's important to their intimacy. So imagine you having the answer to their character and the answer to their intimacy. This
Right.
man,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
jackpot. Me working hard all day and coming home and saying, I provided for you, and she just rolled her eyes and walked away. Maybe that's not her love language. But
Right.
now, and doesn't mean that now you have to do everything that she wants or he wants. I'm going to say she or he because, again, I'm cis. You know, it's not about doing everything the other person wants, it's about doing some of the stuff, okay?
Right.
And then letting them know what your love language is, what
Hmm.
your true colors are, and now they can do some stuff for you and kind of balance out the relationship, because at the end of the day, you met them like that and they met you like that. So the probability of you changing per se is probably very low. We do
Yeah.
all go through changes, but when it comes to personality and what's important to your intimacy, that doesn't necessarily change all the time. So wouldn't it
Yeah.
be great to have that little textbook of, a little cheat sheet, I call it,
Yeah.
of what's important to them, so that when you do something, it matters.
Yeah. For sure. And I feel like you learn about yourself too.
Yeah, you learn so much about yourself, because then you're like, that don't mean nothing to me. You know, imagine you, for example, you want to hear, baby, I love you. I think you're so, that you're amazing, and you bring joy to my life. I'm exaggerating, okay? And the other person's love language is just giving gifts. Just
Mm-hmm.
completely giving gifts. I just give you a gift, you know,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, what is? Do you love me too? And you're waiting for that, for that rebuttal, that person, coming back to you, having the same kind of conversation around that, and you're not getting it. So it's the same thing
Yeah.
about the physical and the emotional intimacy. Having those
Yeah.
two quiz, I'm telling you, it is the textbook. It is your cheat note to making sure that you're checking in with your mate. It
Mm-hmm.
works for me. So,
Yes. Well, this debate could go on forever
yeah, I could.
because
Yeah.
it really is hard to pick a winner.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can't have emotional intimacy or physical intimacy alone
Yeah,
without the other in a long-term relationship.
that's true.
Okay? And you need to be truly connected and to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
They both they are both important and absolutely necessary to have a relationship that stands the test of time. So
Yeah,
I feel like so in time, if you really work on it, you build it, it becomes stronger.
exactly. And with
Mhm.
physical intimacy and emotional intimacy comes a lot of different viewpoints,
Mhm.
opinion pieces, of course, like and advice. Okay, but you know your relationship and you know your partner, so check in with
Mhm.
them. It can get a little bit tricky to know what's true and what's BS. Okay, and what you can actually do to increase or the physical or the emotional intimacy in your relationship.
Mhm.
So check in with your mate, have those conversations. They're uncomfortable.
Yes.
You know your mate better than any person else. Even if you say you don't know your mate, you know your mate. You know what we know? We know how to tick them off real quick. We know what makes them tick, and we know how to make them. Okay, so if you take so much time to figure that out, take a little bit extra time to like check in. So
Yeah.
again, let's go through from 1 to 5 for the intimate, for the emotional, and I'll go through the 1 to 5 for the physical.
All right. So for the emotional, so remember, first off, it all comes down to psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, emotional intimacy creates a deep sense of security within your relationship and an ability to be wholly yourself without feeling as if you risk the relationship of itself.
Yeah,
Okay. Number three, emotional intimacy is the prerequisite to great sex.
it is.
Number four, remember that Harvard study. Okay. The biggest predator of your happiness and fulfillment overall in life is love and the quality of your relationship
Mm-hmm.
or relationships.
Yeah.
And number five, what's most important in a relationship? Open communication, loyalty, kindness, compassion, trust, emotional vulnerability, and willingness to forgive.
Amen. And when it comes to physical intimacy, they believe number one, connect with the number one reason that person wants and likes sex. It's important to others for certain reason. Some people really like intimate, physical or intercourse is sex. Some people like touching and sex. Find out what your partner sees as sex and whether they like sex. Some people don't like sex. It's true.
Yeah.
Two, pleasure and touching feels good, okay? And it makes you feel like one with your partner, especially when you have that great chemistry. And that's how chemistry is built, by the way. So you want to have that, you're all both moving in sequence with each other. Sex is good for the health. Oh, we both checked in with that when it comes to emotional and physical. And then physical intimacy is like a super glue. It fits. It fixes things. Sometimes you're having an argument or disagreement and you just don't want to deal with it right now. Or sometimes your partner is, not in tune. Or sometimes it's just like, you know what, we don't want to deal with the bills today. Let's just get some sex out of the way. And sometimes it's just that regular touch or hug. And number 5, sex is like a vacation, but better. Okay, it's a way of escaping. And let's be honest. Since the pandemic, a lot of people have had to deal with mental health issues that they didn't have to deal with before, and deal with a lot of financial issues that are now new. The middle class that was middle class before is no longer middle class. Is now lower income, and
Mm-hmm.
those are even that were in upper class are also now middle class or lower income. So sometimes it's just a way of escaping. And I give the example of, knocking on the door, going to the driveway, knocking on the door and pretending you're a stranger. And not a stranger now, you know. Or even, calling them up in the middle of the day, sexting, is a thing. Send them a little flirtatious photo or whatever, keeping it fresh. Um, that is also physical intimacy. But again, for a long term relationship, we need both physical and emotional. Check in with that 5 love language quiz. It works, people, okay? And that true colors quiz. You put those two together, you know the person's character and personality, and then you know their intimacy side. You know what's important to your partner. You know your partner better than anybody else. And weed out the BS. There's a lot of advice out there, good ones, bad ones, you know, and you have to check in with yourself, check in with your partner, and be honest. If you don't like something, don't tell your partner you like it, because they're going to keep doing it. Especially, there's a lot of people out there that don't like certain types of intimacy, okay? Whether it be touch, whether it be conversation, whether it be physical, or oral or whatever. Let's categorize it or list it out. You have to have a conversation with your partner and say, you know what, I know you love having conversations, but it's not really something that I like. and that's fine. However, it doesn't mean now that not going to talk anymore or not going to communicate, but how you communicate. Maybe
Right.
lessening the conversation a little bit, or maybe including them in the conversation. Maybe that's the problem in the conversation, in that, they might not like conversating, but maybe make them feel important in the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can get your part where you need to communicate at the same time they can feel heard. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you 100%. It's all
Yeah,
about being like having that communication and connecting in the right way.
yeah, and hey, if physical intimacy is number one for you, tell your partner. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
imagine being in the relationship where a person, like, physical is like number two on their book, and for you
Yeah.
is number 20. Okay,
Yeah.
and now every time they come to you, you're like, yeah, not today, or let's do something else. After a while, they're going to feel resentment, they're going to feel rejected, they're going to feel like
Right.
I'm not good enough. So have those honest conversations. And again, I'm going to promote True Colors. We can
Yeah.
put the link on our description, and
Yeah.
also to the 5 love languages. We can put that up as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah. So that
And I just want
was,
to add too.
yeah,
I feel like our thoughts are the most one of the dangerous things is our own thoughts, and I feel like
that
if you don't
part.
have that clarity with that person, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of build on those overthinking thoughts
Well, this is the
instead
thing,
of
is that that's
reality.
why transparency is very important in relationships. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how uncomfortable it makes your partner or yourself. If you do not feel heard, you have to let your partner know. Because if your partner doesn't know that you're not heard, you're
Yeah.
walking around with a little chip on your shoulder. I don't think you get me, right? And meanwhile, they're like going on about their day. You ever had a situation where a person is saying, "Oh, my mate gets me. Everything is great," and then you go ask the mate, they're like, "Mm."
Yeah, housewives.
Yes. And
Next
you're
season of divorce.
there, you go, and you're like, what happened? I thought we were good.
Last season on.
Just for housewives. Yeah. And you're and the person's like, what? I thought we were good. I thought everything was great. I was great. Nothing was wrong for me. Yeah, for you. I
Yeah.
like that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to be honest with your partner. It might be. I'm not saying now go and be like, this is what's and be very aggressive in your speech or whatever. Be kind. Use kind words and warm words and have a conversation around what's
Mhm.
important to you in a relationship so that they can meet some of your markers. They're not going to be able to meet all of your markers. Don't be selfish now. But let them know what's really, really important to you. There things are not bendable because there's certain things that are bendable and some things are not.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
um, like we're not gonna do a threesome. Sorry, I'm not Diddy. Hashtag Diddy. Diddy. I no, it's not gonna happen. Sorry, don't even have that conversation with me. That is an exit for me. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's certain things that that you're looking at. So, like, for example, I need to I don't know. I need to join an art class or something like that. I don't know. I'm just being ridiculous. And the other person has no I doesn't care anything about art or whatever, but it's an expense to the relationship. Maybe have a conversation as to why that's important to you. It could be a mental health thing where you escape for a little bit. It could be
Right.
a creativity thing or something where it's like purposeful to you. Have that
Yeah.
conversation around that because it might not be important to the other person, but it's very important to you. So be honest with them. And if they do something, for example, don't show up for you, tell them that how important that show up is for them, for you, right?
Mhm.
So that they
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they can check in
Yeah.
with themselves and say, you know what, I might not be able to show up for everything, but let me know what's important to you, and I'll be there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we help y'all
Yeah. We
today.
hope so. Hopefully,
Hope
this was very
yeah,
educational. Yeah.
informative.
Some
And
tips. Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting for me because I didn't know about the whole nerve endings on the penis and the clitoris, but now we know what's the difference between
Oh
male and
yeah, I
female.
know, right?
That
They never
part.
taught that in health class.
Oh yeah, I wasn't really listening in chemistry and biology. I'm not into science. I'm sorry. I'll listen to certain things, but so that there you go. That's a part you would know from your partner. If they start talking to them about certain things, you're like deer in headlights, have no clue what's going on. But listen anyways because it's important to them. But let them know that you don't understand. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. They're always gonna have that clarity
Yeah, have that
for
clarity.
sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was another episode of Embrace Your Edges. I hope you like it. Please remember to subscribe and like the channel. And we will be back here next Wednesday on Embrace Your Edges live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you know what we're doing for the next one?
Um.
So I think we're keeping it relationship based. But what I do want
Yeah.
to point out, and because normally I would do something with this, and I didn't do it this year because um, I wanted to give. I don't like speaking on other people's traumas and their experiences, and I didn't want to do a full show on the orange T-shirt. Uh, you know. And a day of reconciliation. I know a lot of people don't know, might not know what that is, and a lot of people might know what that is. And it's giving voice to a lot of indigenous women and children that have been harmed or hurt or taken. Also, remembrance of the residential schools, and just kind of an acknowledgement around that. And I didn't want to speak on their behalf, but I do want you to look up the to look on the websites, do some research around that and see where we need to check in and where we can support and where we can understand. There's so much misunderstanding around in the indigenous culture. And first of all, I want people to realize that indigenous people come in all different creeds, just like how we as I'm going to use or people, Caribbean. We have different countries, different cultures, different ethnicities, different accents, different languages. So does the indigenous people of the Turtle Island, which is North America, and we have to start respecting that and not call them one people. Okay, so learn your history, learn why we're here, how we got here, and the land that we are, and the space that we are on. For us, it is the Mississauga of the Credit First Nations, and we have to start respecting that and understand and give voice to that. And I think what we can actually start doing, and I'm going to start doing, because I always do it anyways for my workshops, I'm going to start doing land acknowledgement every time I start the program. And
Okay.
yeah, because when I went through a lot of loss, it was the Aboriginal community, the Indigenous community that embraced me, not only in work and in volunteerism, but also as family. So the brothers and sisters of the Rankin Reservation put their arms around me and embraced me and helped me through a lot of things. And the brothers and sisters at the Native Child Family Services also helped me. So I want to make sure that I give voice to them and I respect the land that I sit on and borrow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So again, remember to like, subscribe to Embrace Your Edges, and we will see you here next week live. Oh, and we're only going to do one more live for
Right.
September. There's some stuff going on, and I'll be back live again in. Wait, hold on. This is October. Sorry, I said
Yeah.
September. We're going to do one more live for October, and then we're going to come back in November, and we'll be live for the rest of the year. Okay? So, again, hopefully we'll be live for the rest of the year. I can't speak into existence. I am not the future. And if it's not live, I'll probably do a recording and drop it. Okay? So, thank you again. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for those in the chat. Thank you guys. Were silent tonight, but we can see that you're there. And Rudy, we know, have a great time down in Manhattan. And Victor, I know you're busy at work today. Thank you always for supporting, and for those all regulars who normally stop by, and I know that they'll message me after the show. Thank you for always supporting, and thank you, Colette, for sitting in with me tonight, so I don't have to talk to myself. We're gonna try to have some guests, some more guests. We did have quite a bit of guests in the beginning of the shows and stuff. We're gonna get back into that, but we just wanted to get some relationship stuff going before we go back into the guest piece. So thanks again for supporting, and we'll see you next week live. Bye. We gotta get that music. we gotta put back on our music, because the music is missing. Okay. All right then. Bye, Colette.